Imagine, you're in a classroom where students aren't just reading and writing, they're living their stories. They're mixing words with pictures, sounds, even code. They're creating digital stories that make their voices heard, their experiences felt, and their ideas unforgettable. Sounds pretty cool, right? But here's the kicker. This isn't just a fun tech project. It's a game changer for how students learn to think critically in today's crazy digital world. Let's be honest, our world is a wild place. Fake news, viral misinformation, competing voices shouting all at once. If students only learn to read and write the old-fashioned way, they're missing out on something huge. Walter Ong, a literacy thinker from way back, said writing restructures consciousness itself. 1986. Now, digital storytelling is rewriting the rules again, blending words with images, sounds, and emotions to reshape how students understand and interact with the world. Think about thousands of years ago, ancient humans gathered around flickering fires, telling their stories by painting on cave walls, simple marks that carried the weight of their experiences, hopes, and fears. Those stories help them make sense of the world around them, connect with each other, and leave a trace of their lives for future generations. Fast forward to today, our students are telling stories too, but their canvas is digital. They use videos, images, sound, and text to share who they are and what matters to them. The tools have changed, but the heart of storytelling remains the same: to connect, to understand, and to be truly heard. Now pause for a moment and ask yourself, what story do you carry inside you? If you had every tool at your fingertips, how would you bring it to life? What would you want the world to see and feel through your story? So, what exactly is digital storytelling? Let's suppose telling your story not just with words, but with your own voice narrating, photos you've taken capturing moments that matter, music that stirs your emotions, and even animations you've crafted to bring ideas to life. It's like painting a picture with sound, image, and motion, all woven together to create a story that speaks in many voices at once: yours, your cultures, your communities. Bernard Robin calls digital storytelling a powerful tool for the 21st century classroom, 2008. And he's onto something big, because it's not just about learning tech tricks, it's about building critical literacy, the superpower to analyze information, question what's presented, and create meaningful messages in a world that's more complex than ever before. Digital storytelling invites students to be explorers and creators, navigating the tangled web of media with curiosity and confidence. Why does this even matter? Because today's students aren't just passive consumers scrolling through endless streams of content. They need to become makers of content that truly matters. LLM's 2023 study revealed a powerful shift. Digital storytelling transforms classrooms from quiet rooms where students sit and listen into vibrant spaces where they create and participate. Suddenly, students aren't just watching the story unfold, they're living it, shaping it with their own ideas, voices, and creativity. They become active players in their learning journey, not just spectators on the sidelines. Take Maria as an example, which is documented in LLM's study. When Maria started, she said, "I'm not good with technology." Then, 3 weeks later, she'd crafted a beautiful story about her grandmother's immigration journey, weaving together photos, voice recordings, and historical clips. Maria's journey started with doubt and ended in pride. She wasn't just learning tech. She was connecting deeply to her family's past and sharing it in a way that only she could. That transformation? It's what Laura Gonzalez calls digital rhetorical literacy. Students learning to juggle multiple ways of meaning and voice their own perspectives. 2018. Now again, take a pause and think. What story from your own life would you want to tell if you had the chance? But here's where digital storytelling truly comes alive. It's not just about sharing facts, it's about feeling them deep in your bones. Jenny Jiang's 2024 research uncovers something powerful. When students tell stories about social justice issues, like environmental racism, they don't just relay cold data or distant facts. They live those stories. They bring their own emotions, experiences, and urgency into the narrative. And that emotional connection, it's a game changer. It ignites motivation up 27%, sparks curiosity, and fuels critical thinking like nothing else. Students get hooked because these stories aren't abstract or distant. They're raw, personal, and real. And when you care that much, your mind starts working in a whole new way. Do you remember what I said at the beginning of the video? Picture of a classroom buzzing with energy, where one student might create a moving digital narrative about environmental racism, using charts and photos that hit you right in the gut. And another might blend spoken word with images to challenge stereotypes. This is the real power of digital storytelling, turning numbers and facts into unforgettable human experiences. Now, let's zoom into a multilingual classroom. Meet with Lin, a student from China. According to Joel Bloch's 2018 study, writing traditional essays was like climbing a mountain for her. Words in one language just weren't enough to carry the whole story. But when given a digital canvas, Lin blended Mandarin and English seamlessly, painting a rich, layered portrait of her cultural identity with narration, visuals, and metaphor. Suddenly, her story wasn't just heard. It resonated. Scholar Siam calls this creating culturally responsive literacy spaces. 2022, classrooms where every language, every culture has its rightful place at the storytelling table. It's about honoring the full spectrum of student voices, not confining them to a single way of expression. And the impact? Tamimi's 2024 study delivers some powerful proof. English learners who embrace digital storytelling saw their critical thinking scores jump by 31%. So how can classrooms today truly honor every student's unique voice and unlock the full power of their stories? But here's where it gets next level. Students aren't just mixing languages, they're blending sharp critical thinking with hands-on technical skills, creating stories that are as smart as they are creative. Researchers like Keo Fanuek and colleagues developed the Critical Inquiry Through Digital Storytelling model, which is a roadmap for how digital storytelling can boost students' ability to evaluate sources by a whopping 42% and sharpen their critical analysis by 35%, 2019. What does that mean in real life? It means students are learning to ask the tough questions. Where did this information come from? Is it trustworthy? How can I use it to craft my own powerful story? They're not just taking info at face value, they're becoming savvy detectives in the digital world. And here's the coolest part. Proctor and Blickstein found that students develop something called computational narrative thinking, 2019. In other words, they're juggling storytelling and coding at the same time, thinking like programmers and storytellers all rolled into one. Yeah, that's right, they're basically literacy ninjas, slicing through complex data and crafting compelling narratives with equal precision and flair. It's like giving them a superpower, the ability to decode the digital chaos and create stories that truly matter. Now let's talk about Sophia, a vivid example from Shengquan Cheng's 2007 study. She didn't just tell a story. She shattered stereotypes by blending her own original artwork, compelling data, and personal narrative into a single digital masterpiece. Imagine vibrant paintings interwoven with hard-hitting statistics and heartfelt voiceover, all working together to challenge ideas about gender and identity. This isn't just storytelling, it's a full-on sensory experience that hits both the heart and the mind. Helena Menezes calls this kind of work multimodal critical literacy, 2012, the art of using different modes of expression to build arguments that are powerful, nuanced, and impossible to ignore. But here's the inside scoop. Success like Sophia's doesn't just magically happen. You can't simply hand students the technology and say, go and create. Tamimi's 2024 research shows that when teachers provide scaffolded instruction, carefully guiding students through both the technical steps and the critical thinking process, critical thinking skills soar by 45%. And let's not forget peer feedback. When students engage in thoughtful critique and collaboration, the impact is really game-changing, turning good stories into great ones and learners into confident creators. Keofanuek and colleagues discovered something pretty powerful. Peer critique can boost students' ability to give meaningful, constructive feedback by 38%, 2019. So think about that for a second. When students talk through each other's stories, they're not just helping their classmates, they're sharpening their own thinking too. It's like a mental workout where everyone gets stronger together. Again, pause for a moment and reflect. How has feedback shaped your own learning? Maybe a teacher's comment, a friend's suggestion, or a tough conversation helped you see things differently, grow, or improve. That's the magic of collaboration. It turns storytelling into a shared journey of discovery and growth. And here's another game changer. These digital storytelling skills don't just stay trapped inside classroom walls. Students begin to see the world through a sharper lens. They start questioning the headlines they scroll past, digging deeper into social media posts, and engaging in thoughtful debates about the ideas shaping their lives. They're not just students anymore. They're becoming critical citizens, active participants in the stories that shape our world. Looking ahead, the future feels almost like science fiction. Virtual reality, AI-powered tools, immersive storytelling experiences, they're opening doors to new ways of learning and expressing that we're only just beginning to imagine. But through all the dazzling tech, one thing remains constant. The heart of digital storytelling is about people, empowering students to tell their own stories with both critical insight and creative passion. It's about giving them the keys to unlock not just knowledge, but understanding, connection, and change. So, you might be asking yourself, how do we actually make this magic happen in our classrooms? First, we can build strong structure around our projects. Then we can break the process down into clear, manageable steps, so students feel supported every step of the way, not lost or overwhelmed. Second, we can make peer feedback a regular part of the routine. When students share their work and give each other thoughtful critiques, they're not just improving their stories, they're sharpening their own critical thinking and communication skills. And third, we can celebrate every culture and language in your classroom. By embracing the rich diversity, our students can bring and make room for all their voices to be heard and honored. Because here's the truth, this isn't just literacy. It's about equity, inclusion, and justice. It's about creating learning spaces where every student feels valued, empowered, and ready to change the world. Researchers like Robin, Jiang, Bloch, and Tamimi have all shown that digital storytelling isn't just reshaping education, it's transforming lives. And now it's our turn. So, what's standing in our way? What's holding us back from giving students the chance to tell stories that truly matter? Stories that spark deep thinking, ignite creativity, and build meaningful connections across cultures and communities. A classroom where every student will feel seen, heard, and empowered to share their unique voice, and a place where stories aren't just told but felt, understood, and celebrated. That kind of learning transforms not just minds but hearts. It opens doors to empathy, courage, and change. Now the next great story? It's already inside our students, waiting to be told, and maybe, just maybe, it's ours too. So why wait? Let's start that story today.